My first project I started was really back in Sweden with this alternative activism and news portal that's called Vaken. And that was like my start of trying to change the world, or trying to work for the betterment of society and the world. And I was working for many years talking about mainly about the problems, you could say, problems with society, modern society, with banking, with corruption, and different environmental effects on our behavior and so on. And after about 5-6 years of working like this, I felt that it wasn't making as great impact as I wanted. And I was living in Stockholm at the time. So I thought it was time to find a place and to create a little retreat center or a training center, and go a little bit deeper into actually changing my life also. So I went to look for different communities and to see possible solutions to different problems. And I went around for several years in both Spain and Portugal. And finally I found a piece of land in Portugal that I really connected with well. And I bought this land, and now since a few years I've been starting to build up this retreat center. And I have some people coming also, both for training and also to build simple houses and showers and to work in the garden as well. When I was working with informing people, I could see that many people couldn't really digest this information. It was like a bit too much. So some people were just rejecting everything and kind of denying the problem and just continuing their lives. Other people become kind of almost obsessed with the problem, looking very deep at all different corruptions and scandals, and just go deeper and deeper, but really not taking the time to change their own life. And that's where I see the biggest problem really is that we're not really in touch with ourselves. We're just consuming in this artificial system, and we're not really enjoying life. We're not living it fully. And by my choice of starting this project is about living closer to nature, and to make my own food and to build my own house, to just live like a natural being. And I think this is an important step. This is something that we need to do more for our resources actually to last for everyone. We need to live simpler, but also a much more higher quality life. My life living in Portugal is much higher than any normal person, I would say, living in a city. It's a great improvement actually. For me, a simple lifestyle is the point is that I try to do things that really matters to me. For happiness to occur, I think the most important thing is that you do something that you believe is valuable and that is meaningful. And to be a consumer in society is usually not really something. You're not producing almost anything. You're just looking at others people's accomplishment, and it doesn't really bring the joy that you want. The joy you get from having community life. So you have friends, and you respect each other, and you enjoy each other's company. And this you can do even if you have a very simple lifestyle. It's about making your own food that is both much healthier than the normal food you can buy in an average restaurant. And you invite people, you have good talks, and then you do something together. Maybe like doing meditation and qigong and acro yoga and different things that actually is free, because You're just doing it. And you can sing, you can dance. There's a million things that you can do just with a set of good friends, some nice food, and then you have basically everything you can need, and you don't have all this distraction for living in a city and not a simple life. If you choose to have a more advanced or more things, obviously that needs to come from somewhere, so you then need to put in a lot of hours working to be able to consume all these things. But life is short, and if we actually want to do something really interesting, we need to use our time very wisely. We cannot just trade all our time for some electric gizmos that we can play with. It's not worth it. It's better to go straight to the source, find something you enjoy doing, and do it with good friends. And then you both get a higher quality life for you, and also actually makes the world more livable for everyone. Because obviously we in Western society, we're not we have a pretty good situation. We can get everything we need if we work, but these things that we get aren't really produced in a nice way. Many of the products that we get, especially consumer electronics, they come from slavery and from third world countries, where they get almost nothing for their products or for their work. So obviously that's not a sustainable way of entertaining yourself. So by finding a piece of land and starting to grow my own vegetables, in a way I start my own transformation and my own revolution to live in a way that is more sustainable. But this is in one way a bit of just showing the way for people, and for myself also, to get inspired. How can I start living a community that actually works, where people are actually communicating well and solving their issues? So it's like a playground for this. But most people who live in society doesn't really have the luxury to actually be able to buy a piece of land and live a simple life. It's not that simple today to live a simple life. You actually need to be more well off usually than a normal person. Most people are just stuck in society. But for those people in society, you can already do this transformation if you want to. And I did as well. Before I left this society, I still already done most of the changes, like stepping down in my amount of work that I was doing. I was just working a few hours, and to compensate I was sharing my apartment with other people to get a lower rent, and I was making all my food myself, which created both more pleasurable and healthy food as well. So I had already made a big transformation, and also understood this, that you don't need to have a new telephone every couple of years and stuff like this. I'm into computers myself. I'm a computer engineer, but all through my career I didn't buy the newest computer. I bought the thing that was a bit old, that is much lower price, never like chasing always for the newest thrills, for example. Because it's, if you look at your hobbies, you can see like some hobbies are just eating away money, and it's not just about you. If you consume all of this, much of this, the work that goes into building this is actually unfair, and it's not a good way of enjoying your life. So by just changing to live a simple lifestyle in society, you could start growing on your rooftop some vegetables. You can share more things. You buy a good camera and share it together with others, instead of everyone having like a high quality camera. Even like children 8 years old, even my own son has a better camera than I have, that he got from some family member. But this is like very expensive high-tech things that small children are going around with, dropping them to the floor every day, like hundreds of phones get broken for no real reason. We need to be more smart than this. We cannot waste our time like this. Is really unpractical, and it's not sustainable. a lot of business today is evolving around consumption, but it's more like we're working, creating services and refining products, and so we get a lot of money so we can buy our electronics. But if you look at the whole range, if you look at the third world countries, they're also working as slaves. So it's not just producing work for us so we can get our things. It's producing work for these poor people, and they get barely nothing. So it doesn't work. The pyramid is it's too extreme. We cannot continue to consume just because we need to have our jobs. It doesn't work. We need to look further. And obviously, if we stop consuming, many of the traditional works that we have, especially in West, would be obsolete. Like there would be less work actually. But in my worldview, in what I think is that to have free time is the most important thing. So we do not need to have work all the time. It's much better if we get half time and we get a half time to do nice project with other friends, and that doesn't really need to cost almost anything. We can be creative, we can write books, we can do many things without consuming. So we could easily step down to half time and just stop consuming with half and get actually a better life quality with good interaction with other people. And at the same time, if we would half our consumption, it would be half as many slaves, or actually the people who are working there could stop being slaves and actually just work a decent amount of time and actually have enough money to buy food and to enjoy themselves. You don't need so much to enjoy yourself, even if you live in a poor country. If you have some friends, some food, and some instrument, you will have a great time. And you can, if you have one smartphone, even like shared in 10 people, if you have one nice smartphone with a camera, even in a small village in some third world country, you could start making a movie. So you can have, today we can have the luxury of today's society with this electronics, like just a smartphone or computer, and if you have that, you don't need much more. You need a little solar panel and charger, and then you can live out in nature, making your own food, living like a super primitive, simple lifestyle. But at the same time, you can connect with friends, you can work online, and you can create things and share it with the world. And of course, you can teach yourself anything. So today, you don't need much to live a high quality life. It's like high tech, low tech. This is like the future, high tech, low tech combination, where we live super simple, but we have access to also latest technology. But there is a lot of focus today on the climate change and how this will affect us. And obviously it's super important that we take care of our ecology and that we take care of this earth. And so we don't waste all the resources and pollute the earth. And by changing your own ways, that's one way how you can contribute, and that can inspire other people to change their ways. But for it to have full effect, we need to have strict control also on how much and how we take resources from the earth. And it doesn't help if every normal citizen change their, well, it does help, but it's not enough. We need to have this going through the whole system. The big corporations especially need to be responsible for what they are doing. And at the same time, I see that there's a bit of a problem that a lot of the blame of the situation of the climate and so is put on the individual level, that it's our fault. It is true that it is our fault in a way, because we are just going along with everything and we're consuming, but this is really, it's not that easy. It's not only our fault, it's a combination of our tradition and our society. And if you see the mainstream society, what is given as an example for how to live a good life, it is to be a good consumer. And so this needs to change, and for the media to change, and for everyone to change, we need to see the bigger picture, and to understand that the financial elite, the people who are actually in the top of the food chain, they stand to gain from us continuing consuming and all of this. And media today is sadly very corrupted, as well as many of the different institutions that we have. I would say almost every part of society is corrupted by the elite through the banking system. And this needs to be regulated first. We cannot have the super rich companies being able to bribe their way through everything and to change the whole culture that we're living in. We need to take back our own choices to live the life we want to. Well, we need to find ways to put the pressure on the globalists, on the big companies and the super rich, and to be able to create a free society. And for me, the important thing is to find a way of cooperation. And this is really to cooperate as many people as possible together. Is this that we are the 99%? And obviously, if we would use our power as 99% to put pressure on this top, it would be very simple. But people stand very confused, and everyone is chatted in their own little group, usually fighting each other. And so this is the problem. And this problem is also caused again by the financial elite and the elite in general, because the best way of disarming your opponent is to make them confused and start fighting within itself. You can see the 99% are just fully occupied by blaming each other and calling each other name and fighting each other, not understanding that this is actually created by the system to keep us away from actually doing anything of importance. So the solution to the problem is the same, is that we need to first of all understand how we are being manipulated all the time, and there's almost no one who isn't manipulated and who aren't following the different tricks that is put onto us. So we need to know that we are all like into this, and we need to change, all of us. And to do so, I work with different ways of implementing something that I would call like a true democracy. Because today, the democratic system we have today, it's really very easy to manipulate. And it's based mostly on group psychology, how you can take a big group and manipulate what they want and what they want to vote for. And it's quite simple that if you have a strong candidate that you handpick, and you have a lot of people, by having a strong candidate who really know how to express himself, and often can be quite intimidating, strong intimidating person, someone like this can get, in a big group, he can get a lot of followers. Because in a big group, from our history, like, to be a part of the group is really the most important thing. If you're kicked out of your tribe or whatever, you would face nature alone, and you would probably die. You need to be in a group. So to be in a group is more important actually than anything else. Even, yeah, it's the most important basically. So as a group, we're very easy to manipulate in this way, that people want to join the group that has the most probability to be the winner. This is the base. It's not the one who is doing the great work. In our subconscious, we need safety, so we will join anyone who is strong. And this is how democracy then works. You have a few strong candidates, and you're going to choose one of these one, but none of them actually has any solutions to the problems. All of them are just trying to control the system in different aspects. So what we need to do is to find a way of democracy that actually represent people. And this is what I'm working with what I call a dynamic fractal organization system. And this is based mainly on just having small groups. So this never happens that the group mentality falls in. So instead of having a few, like 10 parties, and everybody needs to choose one of these parties, instead you look more into your local area, and you create a group of and I recommend around about 5 people only, that you have a small group, and you talk about what you want with your life, and what you want with society, what you want to change in the world. Everything you discuss in your little group, and then one from each group represent the group and go together with other representatives to form new circles, also with only like around 5 people. So this creates a fractal in a way that there's 5 people in the first, and then there's 5 representatives, and from these, one representative goes up to another group with 5, and it continues like this all the time. And the main difference in working like this is that when you have a small group, you will really have this possibility to get to know each other, to have a intimacy, and to understand everyone's point of view. And you will also have the possibility to really engage yourself in the social issues and speak what you think. And this will actually be used. The best knowledge, or the best information that you find in your little group will continue into the next group. And so the best information and the best ideas from the whole of society can in this way be collected upwards. The main idea is to start using this kind of organization forms, first of all in communities that already is out there, that most of the time has a lot of problems communicating. There's a lot of issues. So by implementing this in communities, but also in non-government organizations and other organizations as well, could also be implemented in normal corporations. But basically in the end, you would like to have this structure as a complement to our democracy, to our process, where the people actually are engaged. They talk about what they want in their community, and then they can present this to the politically elected person and say, like, this is what people actually want, and you are here to represent us, so you better do what we want you to do. And today, most of the time, the people, they just choose one guy in one occasion, they vote, and they do everything, and you don't even know what they're doing, basically, and you don't give them any ideas at all. You're kind of totally disconnected from the democratic process. You only choose one guy that you don't know, you never seen this guy, or girl, you don't know anything about this person, only that they have a lot of posters with their picture on, which means nothing. So we need to really build our society from the ground up, instead of just from up down like it is today.